All right, we got some good footage today of Deven, so let's do some analysis. Let's start off from just a high level of just some specific things and then generic things to be mindful of. Um, we'll take a look at your hitting approach. We'll take a look at your passing and setting platform. Um, and then one thing to call out just generically is just the thing about everybody's strengths and weaknesses on the court. So, your own strengths, Chris's strengths, your partner, me and Ricky, you're going to be really good at killing the balls at the net. So you're going to want to communicate to Chris, probably set you high and tight at the net. It's going to be really hard for me and Ricky to defend those balls. Chris, your partner, Chris has decent ball control. He's just kind of slow, right? So you're going to want to do everything you can to make him not move as much. You're going to try to make things easy for him to read, give him higher balls so he has time to move. If you communicate with Chris, you tell him what you want from a set, he's going to give you like a pretty reliable set, I would say, especially if you give him a good pass. Me and Ricky, and I don't know if you've played with any of us before, really. Me and Ricky, I mean, I'm a well-rounded player here. It's going to be a little bit harder for me to score. My offense is a little bit weaker. I can run down balls. Putting balls in the back of the court that'll make me move the ball from the back of the court to the front of the court is going to be hard when I'm playing with Ricky. Ricky's ball control is a little bit weaker. So it's going to be hard for him to, like, if I pass the ball from back here, it's going to be hard for us as a team to move the ball forwards. And then if we're in that position, you guys can just stay back on defense and not have to worry too much. You guys can poke on Ricky if you want. We'll see what happens, though. Ricky can actually hit the ball, though, if he gets a good set. But if you give him a ball where he has to move, where he's going to be kind of not so sturdy, he's not going to have great ball control. It's going to be hard to give him a good set, and then he's going to make a lot of hitting mistakes. So anything to make him move around, it's going to be a good play. Let's get into it. We'll just watch the game and see what happens. So just some feedback on blocking. So unlike a lot of like my other friends, you can actually block really well. You're a big guy. Ricky's hitting is kind of worthy of a block in this game. I'm going to be able to set him well if he gives me a good pass. So I think it's good to block Ricky, but I would just be careful. If he doesn't have a great pass, which is probably going to happen pretty regularly, you certainly do not need to block. And this is compounded by the fact that you're playing with Chris. So, like, if you need Chris to cover your high line on a play, or if you're not really in a good spot, like, Chris is not going to be able to save you. If you play with someone like me or maybe someone like Ricky, like, I'm going to be able to save you every once in a while when you make a positioning mistake. I wouldn't rely on that with Chris. So you just have to be careful, because if you're choosing a bad time to block, or if you don't peel properly, that's going to hurt you in this game. It's a weak set. It's like here, I would just peel. This is going to be a bad pass. That's a bad pass, so it's unlikely for me to give Ricky like a set that's going to be worthy of you blocking. I would just peel earlier. And then if you would have peeled earlier, you would have been behind this ball and like had control, but instead you give like a pass that goes backwards. This is going to be a sloppy set. We'll see what happens. You kind of have to hit the ball with no power. It's a weak hit. Take a look at this approach in a sec. This one wasn't too bad, but let's see if we can show it. It's easier to show when you're on the other side. This spacing I think is actually pretty good. We'll see if you end up being early to this ball, but I like how you're pretty outside. Um, I don't know if you're giving a call to Chris, but if like you should be calling, you know, two if you want something more middle or three. Um, could ask for a two ball here. Ends up just being like a little. Let's see what happens here. No, that looked good. I'll make more comments about a different approach later. It's easier to explain. I'm gonna be hypercritical here, just for the sake of criticism. So the outcome of this pass is okay. You end up putting the ball in a good spot, even though you get a lot of height on the pass. You know, when you make this platform, you don't need to swing as much. Try to keep your platform to like never go above, you know, like your nipples, your shoulders. Here you're like, you know, you end up like kind of swinging your hands up at your head, and that's giving the ball out of this height, and that's going to make it harder to set this ball. And then what happens is it's harder to set up tempo when it's that high. But here, I think the starting position was actually okay. You could have been a little bit further outside if you wanted to, but you ended up being super early. You know, you're under the ball here, so a good defender is going to be able to pick up this ball. Say this initial spacing was good, but you could just wait a half a second more in order to start running up. You have good examples later. And then something on the serves. Yeah, this is your go-to serve. It'll be easier to show when you're on this side. But like you could serve with way more intensity than this. Whether it's a jump serve or not even a jump serve. You might want to try tossing the ball with your other hand too. I'll talk a little bit more about that when you're on the side. Okay, so this is another thing playing with Chris you have to be aware of. It's not just Chris too. I mean, a lot of us are gonna make the mistake. Like Chris, if someone's hanging out at the net here, there's gonna be an opening in this back of the court. So once you set the ball, you have to be worried about the ball going over on one, and like your job to defend that is to cover as much ground as possible. To do that, you want to camp in the back middle. So now if I'm going for this corner or even that corner, you're going to be able to have time to get the ball. But right now, like there's a big gap in this court, and I recognize that, and I'm trying to hit this. I missed this shot, but I'm still able to get a point out of it. So this pass looked much better. You could have moved to the spot a little bit better. You could have like moved your feet so you can been more in front of it. But if you just look at your platform, you know your platform started lower. You didn't swing your arms, and like as a result, this is just like a much more controlled pass. Chris takes this, which is like pretty unfortunate for you. I mean, like this strategy as a team is like you should be getting as many balls as possible. Chris should be setting you like as many times as possible high and tight. Chris stole one other one from you, but at a different time in the game. We'll look at this pass in a second. So not that, it's further back. Okay, so here a lot of feedback. Hopefully this isn't all over the place. Okay, so Chris is about to pass this ball. Chris is gonna have pretty good control of this ball. This is a free ball. Chris is gonna most likely hit this ball, you know, somewhere around here. This is the target. So like you want to get to the target before he even touches the ball, and you are making a step somewhere. You actually go like away from the ball though. You want to go to the target. You want to already be in the position like before the ball's coming there. And then you'll see here like you end up swinging your arms. Let's just watch the whole thing again here. You just swing your arms a little bit too much. Instead, you know, you want to get there. You could create your platform early, bend your legs, and then use your legs to gently lift up. But instead, we'll watch it one more time. It's just like a subtle arm swing. When you really just have to hold your platform out and use your legs to lift up and let the ball come to you. And then, okay, I think that was an option. We'll move on. You got me. And he gets Ricky. Okay. So you should be crushing this ball. This is a free ball. It's good that you're taking this free ball instead of Chris. But at this point, you know, Chris should also like already be at this target. Basically, he should be. And then you can back up, you know, even more than this. You could take another step back and then wait. Instead, like by the time Chris touches the ball, this is a frame late already. But you're like already lateral with him. I want you to still be behind this ball, wait, and get the ball. Especially like Chris is decent at setting. Like he's not gonna just shank this handset. Like he's gonna give you time. You're gonna be able to get there. But instead, you see like you have to crank your head up, and you're kind of just under this ball, and you're losing a lot of power because you're in front of the ball and you're early. And then you can't end up swinging. You have to make it a late adjustment poke, and it works against Ricky, but that's not going to work against a better player. Whew, nice block. This was a great pass, though. Not to toot my own horn, but I do want to show this pass. So, you know, I'm starting this pass low. I have a firm platform here. I'm not swinging my arms, and then this is just a very controlled pass to the target. But great block. It's kind of slow. Good pass. Like, that's unfortunate. Show a couple things here. I want to show this your initial pass. I'm not trying to poke on Chris. Because this pass was good. You know, like Chris is starting to move now. Chris, like once you got served, Chris should have started already moving to the target. Because you put this ball right to the target with some time. Maybe it was a little tight, but like he should have been able to set you there. Okay, I can move. Okay, and then here. So I'm setting the ball to this corner. Chris, once again, like, he's probably hitting the ball somewhere in front of here. So, like, a simple way to think about this is, yeah, you want to just follow your partner. So, like, I send the ball to the right. Chris has to move to the right. So now you have to shift to the right. But, like, a layer on top of that is where's Chris going to hit this ball? Somewhere over here. So you want to get there before he even touches the ball. Like, you could have been there without even, like, moving, really, after you would have had to move to get there, but like you could have been there earlier, and it just had more stability for this pass, or for this set. Instead, this was still like it's just a bit of an arm swing, but still pretty good. I'm breaking my platform here, but like you can see. Like very little arm swing, and it's just a more solid platform. Nice. Okay, so check out the difference between that approach and the approaches you've had in the past. You know, when Chris is touching the ball, this is a frame late, but you're actually like behind him. So like you always want to be behind the ball. Let's see if I can get the right frame this time. You know, you have a lot of space here, so you're gonna stay behind the ball. You probably could even be just a little bit more patient. No, that's fine. And when you hit the ball, you know, you are still behind the ball, and able to get a lot of power and rhythm into this. And you can tell in your head. You know, look where look where your eyes and your neck is doing on this play. It's not as like it was cranked up a little bit, but not like the other play. That's like a good symbol. If you ever have to like just stare up at the sky, it's a sign that you're like not being patient enough, or you're starting your approach too far in front of the court. All right, we can talk about serving here. So, you know, when you do this toss, you're trying to toss the ball just like how you would when you're attacking on offense. You're trying to get it like in front of your right shoulder. I think it's going to be easier for you to do that if you do a really gentle toss with your left hand instead of your right. You know, this is going to be a personal preference, but what's happening with your serve is a lot of time you are tossing the ball behind your right shoulder. So you have to like go like this to hit the ball, and you're losing a lot of strength. You know, you want to mimic your attacking motion when you're serving, and like right now your serve is not looking like your best attacks. You know, if we scroll backwards to like this monster attack, like you can do that on your serve. If you like see this, let's see if I can pause it again. You know, you're hitting the ball like here. I can't pause it at the right time. But if you compare that to where, like on average, you're hitting the ball in your serve, you know, you had to kind of lean back there. Like you always want to be going forwards. So I would just say like bring up the intensity on the serves. You know, you're getting a lot of opportunities every game just in your serve, and you can score on your serve effectively, and it's going to be easier if you get the ball in front of you, have a controlled toss, then, you know, like, I would say just you can try to serve hard. You know, I don't know what your intentions were here, but because you're under the ball, like, it's going to float up, and unless you, like, get a lucky drift with the wind or, like, with the knuckleball, it's going to give the defender a lot of time to get this ball. So, like, you know, I had to move to get this, but because you were under the ball and it had a lot of hang time, like, I'm still able to pass right to the target here. Maybe consider, like, when you're serving, try to serve within 3 feet of the tape. So, like, you know, this serve, you know, this is like a good, let's just call it 10 feet above the tape. I'm going to have a lot of time to react to this ball. Good pass. That seemed fine. I mean, let's see. Let's see exactly if there's anything you can see. I like this spacing a lot. This looks good. Try to give him a call if you can. It's gonna give you like the confidence to know where to go, and it's gonna make his sets better. But sets seem good. You were a little early here, I think. Let me see if you broad jumped. Maybe. It's hard for me to tell. You don't want to broad jump. I don't know if that's what you did, but early. Or like another way of thinking about early is just like if you're ahead of the ball. So, you know, this is, you can see your head, like you're just looking straight up. So you pass this ball. I like how you're going this way to create more space, trying to get it to your right hand. But I'd rather you be here and then just wait a little bit more. Or like you don't have to wait, but just like you're taking big steps at the start of your approach. I would recommend just taking smaller timing and adjustment steps to start, and then later you can take a big 1-2 step. But you're starting off with a lot of big steps, and that's resulting for you to just be early, and then getting that ball all day. So I mean, there's only so much you can do here, but you know, I'm serving Chris. It's short. Yeah, do your best to try to get to the target in time. Like that was a pretty unfavorable bounce. It went straight down, but you could touch this ball if you get a good jump on it at least. And maybe it's not gonna be a good touch, but like you could at least touch this ball. Okay, so two things here. We'll look at the set, the platform again. I guess before the set even. This is, I'm just gonna reiterate. So I mean, I'm serving Chris. At this point, like you should be going to the target, and you are like making you're stepping away. I would make your first step towards the target. So then you just get there, like this is a low pass, and you get there a little late. And like because of that, you're kind of overcompensating with your arms here. You know, you're starting here, and then you're gonna swing, and then you're gonna swing the ball out over here. When instead, like you want to make a more level platform, and then just rise up with your legs. Instead, you're swinging with your arms, and I'll show. I'm gonna show a different example here, maybe. You know, this is an example of Logan bump setting. I don't know if you know him, but he makes very good platforms, and it's just very steady. You know, he's making his platform. I'll let you watch, and then I'll pause it. So, you know, he's going to make his platform, and he's going to, I wouldn't say he's swinging his arms, but he's kind of, lifting his platform up instead of swinging, if that makes sense. And you can see, he's not breaking his platform too early. He's holding his platform. He's lifting it. And it's going to be very easy for me as a hitter to know where this ball's going to go. Whereas, this, it's just more of a swinging motion instead of just, a gentle lift. And then on defense here, hopefully this isn't too much at once. Okay, Ricky gets the ball. Kind of just get trapped close. You know, on defense, you're trying to cover as much of the court as possible, whether that's through blocking or being in the right spot. And without blocking, to cover as much court as possible, you just want to kind of be in your default 2/3 back position. So right now we're just leaving a lot of the court, a lot of the back of the court's open right now. This was a decent serve. I don't know. I liked how you got your body in front of it. Maybe that wasn't the move here, and maybe it was just to take a step back and open up and make a platform like this. I don't know. It's a good serve. You know, here, I don't know what your intention was. Like, this is a tough set. It's a tough pass. It's a tough set. Here, just try to keep the ball in play. You know, if possible, send it in the back middle somewhere so that we have to, you know, move the ball from the back to the front of the court. But, like, put the pressure back on us. And, like, this was a pretty decent shot. It wasn't out by that much. It was pretty close, but, you know, it's going to be really hard to score like this. So you don't have to try to score. Yeah, this is a similar thing. So, you know, we could be going to the target way earlier, and then you couldn't hand set that, but it ends up being a good set, but you could still have more control if you were just there sooner. Nice hitting error. Nice play. Gave him a bad ball and it kind of fucked up this play. Is that in? I don't know. It's probably out. Okay. So, you make a really good play here, and like you need to capitalize on this good play by you. So, okay, you pick up the cut shot, and then you stay there or even go forward. So now when Chris is setting the ball, you're in front of him. You know, you need to pass, take 2 steps back, so you're behind your setter, you're behind the ball, and then you're gonna have vision forwards. Instead, you're starting in front of Chris, so now you have to look backwards, and like it's gonna be impossible to, you know, you can't hit the ball forwards and look backwards at the same time. So you have to like look back and then look forward. You know, right now your body is facing this way, so it's just gonna be really hard to have power on this ball. You know, ideally you'd be like here right now, or here, and then going down court with power. Instead, you know, you have to pop it up like that, and we get a free ball. Can't capitalize though. Okay, nice. This is the same. This is the same thing. I can tell. Like I don't know what's gonna happen exactly, or I don't know what the outcome of this play is. But you know, you make a good defensive up, and you're in front of him again. I'm guessing you're gonna be early, and you're gonna lose a lot of power on this hit. Again, you just have to pop it up. When like you have the capability of just crushing every single fucking ball. It's rough. Okay. Here, you know, I could be talking to Chris, tell him what you want. The default here though would be okay. So you pass to the left of center. So now you have to really kick out in your approach to allow Chris to set to your right hand. You know, if you're starting your approach here, the only way for him to set to your right hand is if he sets up and down. So you have to communicate that to him. Ideally, you'd be like 2 feet outside the sidelines and asking for, probably an outside set or a one set, perhaps. This positioning is good. I'm guessing you're going to get jammed in your right hand, and if he sets you too far outside, you're going to lose a lot of power. But instead, like this set, it was actually like he pulls you, but that's not really a bad thing in this scenario because you started kind of to the right. Still early though, so then you end up under the ball, and now you're gonna have to pop it up. And just another way to think about early is just, you're in front of the ball. Your body's in front of the ball, under or in front of the ball. That was probably a double or lift. I don't know. Maybe both. So I kind of gave up on the play. So like I'm trying to give him a lot of space to get the ball to my right hand. I'm calling middle here, so I'm hoping the set's gonna be here. But he doesn't push the net enough, and it's not high enough. That was also weird looking set, but this is weak bump set. Okay. Take Ricky's ball. Ball was that anyways. So this was a long play. You had like 6 different bump sets on this play, and just if you were to look back, I don't want to rewatch it here, but like the level of control you had directly correlated to how much you swung your arms and how much you just like stayed steady and held your platform. I would really try to exaggerate just trying to keep your platform up, like after you hit the ball. And like don't break or collapse your platform afterwards. And like your settings to be a lot more predictable and steady. Like you'll see, like your best bump sets that you had here, you had a steady platform. You didn't swing. You held it together a little bit longer. Yeah. Yeah, like 2 more minutes here. 17-14. Whew, good spot. I'll just show the serve here. This wait, did I go too far back? This toss is out of control. That's like that seems like a crazy thing to say, or like an embellishment, but you don't have control of this toss, and you have to adjust. So like this should really never happen unless you're doing like a really aggressive jump serve. I would practice your toss so that you're tossing the ball like in front of you and on your right shoulder. Got lucky there. Nice. Nice play. This is a nice pass. You see, like your platform never goes like above your chest here. Your platform starts low. It goes above. You break your platform a little early, but it's still very controlled here. It's a good spot. And then look at the spacing. like you have so much space between you and your setter, and like it's not a coincidence that this is going to be one of your best hits. So a little early, but you can see the difference that like when you're starting back there, this is a nice high set too, which, um, but this set's, yeah, uh, this is a good play. But with that high set, like if you imagine, if you started, even like 2 feet or like one step further up, that's the difference between like you just being really under the ball and having to poke it up versus you just smashing this ball. Um, you can do this like every single time. Yikes. Here, if you can, try to dunk this ball with 2 hands. Every once in a while, if you go up with one, like you might make a mistake here. If you like try to center up with this ball, jump, literally grab the ball with 2 hands and dunk it, you might like think it's a lift. It's not. You can fucking dunk this ball with 2 hands and kind of just, you can almost throw the ball where you want in the court, and you're going to make far fewer errors blocking. This play is like, it's a lot harder than it looks. And if you use 2 hands, you're going to not make as many errors. Obviously, you don't make an error here, but like you open yourself to making an error if you use 1 hand sometimes. That was a good serve. 18-19. I pass it over. Same thing. I would just call one thing out. So, all right, I'm passing this over. You have time to get here and like, you know, you try to really focus on getting back to the spot immediately, and then giving a firm pass. You're swinging your arms up a little bit here, and you're just like putting a little. You're just putting extra height in this ball that's necessary. It's going to be a little bit harder to pass, and then like once again you're moving up. So if you stay back here, stay patient, you're giving yourself the opportunity to crush this ball, but instead you're going to be early and you're going to lose power. So it didn't have enough arc. Let's see, is there anything to talk about here that ends up being an ace? That's a tough play. It's a good serve. Alright, hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully I'm right about some of the stuff and not wrong about too much. Yeah. Looking forward to playing again later.